Hey guys, Untitled Chapter, and this could be one of our first proper looks at the new Galaxy S21 range. Now of course these are concept renders, but the very talented designers at Let's Go Digital say that they've based this on reliable information from a source closely associated with Samsung electronics. And the designs do match up from what we've seen so far from OnLeaks and also Concept Creator. In fact, speaking of Concept Creator, it's a good friend of mine called Jermaine. Back in August, he actually created some very similar looking designs. I'm not saying Samsung stole them or anything, I'm sure they've been developing this for a long time before, but he was pretty much bang on the money with these back in the summer. First impressions then, what do you think? Do you like the look of them? You can definitely see the inspiration from the S20 line, this is the Ultra, then of course the Note 20, again the Ultra, and also a little bit of the S20 FE thrown in there for good measure. But the big standout, other than the potentially awesome new range of colors, is that camera module. Instead of the usual rectangular slab of glass sticking out the back as we get on the current S20 Ultra, on the S21 the whole top left corner flows over the top and the side edges. And with the rounded corners, it almost looks like when you fill a glass of water right to the top and then you get that surface tension before it spills over. I do think the Ultra looks best though, as it seems the flash on the other two sits outside the glass module and looks a little bit out of place. This is Fred, by the way. He's actually our neighbor's cat who comes around. I thought he was called Felix for like 6 months, but apparently he's called Fred, and he's obviously here to help me with this video. But we can expect the 3 new phones, the S21, S21 Plus, and the S21 Ultra, and probably with a FE or Fan Edition coming out later in the year as well. Now, Fred thinks they may be called the S30 phones, but I don't know, I'm not sure if Fred's got this one right because it kind of makes sense that Samsung sticks with the year of release, so the S21, 2021, S22, 2022, and so on. So I'm pretty confident that's what they're going to be called. But I kind of want to concentrate on the flagship, the S21 Ultra. We are still getting a love it or hate it curved screen on the Ultra though, whereas the other two will be flat. Now just like the current S20 range and the Note 20, this isn't very professional, is it? So like the current S20 Ultra and also the Note 20 Ultra, the flagship S21 Ultra will also have a Quad HD 120Hz screen, but the smaller, cheaper S21, S21 Plus will have a lower Full HD Plus resolution, but also with that 120Hz. The big question though is, are we finally going to get Quad HD and 120Hz at the same time? Well, most reports suggest we will actually, but only on the S21 Ultra, which also will be the only phone to support adaptive refresh. There is some back and forth on whether the S21 and the Plus models will be Full HD or Quad HD, but even if they do support the higher res, you'll only get 120 at Full HD. Also, still no under-screen selfie camera unfortunately. Maybe they're saving it for the Note 21, but it's likely we'll get a slightly smaller 40 megapixel selfie camera. Now sticking with the cameras, and around the back we're looking at an updated 108 megapixel main lens, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 2 10 megapixel telephoto cameras on the Ultra. Why 2? Well, the idea is we'll then have 3 times and 10 times optical zooms. Pair that with a new ISOCELL Vision 3D time of flight sensor, so not the same laser autofocus that was introduced on the Note 20 Ultra, but this new 3D depth camera is likely to have a much longer range and help with focusing, bokeh and portraits, and even AR. Obviously these aren't the new phones, these are the current S20s, but you know, good props for demonstration purposes. So I suspect the standard S21 and the S21 Plus will miss out on that second telephoto lens and also the 3D TOF sensor. Now one slightly confusing rumor is talk of the S21 Ultra, or at least one version of it, supporting an S Pen, which if true would blur the lines between the S series and the Note series more than it already is. Although unlike the Note, it won't be actually stored in the phone itself, you'll have to carry it separately, as there just wouldn't be room inside due to the expected 5000 mAh battery in the Ultra. But the combination of a big 5K mAh battery, more efficient new processors, and adaptive refresh on the S21, which right now is exclusive to the Note 20 Ultra, altogether could mean the S21 Ultra actually has some really impressive battery life. Alright, let's move on and talk about performance, because there's not really any doubt that the new S21 range will feature the new Snapdragon 888. With the headlines being 25% faster CPU, 35% faster GPU, improved AI performance, a new X60 modem for faster 5G, support for variable rate shading, which actually is quite a big deal for game developers and could significantly improve your frame rate in supported games. It also has a new triple image signal processor, support for 10-bit photos, 4K 120 HDR video, Bluetooth 5.2, Wi-Fi 6E, So quite a few upgrades, but we're going to have to see in person just how fast the 888 is, and hopefully we shouldn't have to wait too long, as the new Xiaomi Mi 11 will be one of the first phones to get the 888 before the end of the year, I think. So that's all very exciting, but there is an elephant in the room, the Exynos. As you guys know, in some regions, including the UK, we get Samsung's own Exynos chip, which every year, without fail, just falls behind the Snapdragon. This year, on the S20 and the Note 20, the Exynos 990 was 10 to 20% slower and gave us roughly an hour less battery, which is pretty frustrating. Now, there's no indication that this will change on the S21 series, but there is hope that the next-gen Exynos 2100, aka the Exynos 9840, will be a significant step up. So we can kind of expect the new Exynos to be roughly comparable with the 888, maybe slightly slower still, but again, we'll have to see. The proof will be in the pudding. Is that, wait, proof? That's not it, is it? The proof is in the eating? The proof is in the eating of the pudding. I think, you know what I mean. As for RAM, I'd expect 12 and 16 gig options on the Ultra, with 256 and 512 gig storage options, and of course all three will support 5G. Now, it does seem to be the case that where the Plus used to be the flagship, with the S21 Plus, it's now much closer to the entry-level S21, with both supporting flat displays, a lower Full HD Plus resolution, and a glass-stick body like we get on the S20 FE and the standard Note 20. And so the only real difference being a slightly bigger screen and battery on the Plus model. And finally, the new S21 phones are expected to be the very first to come with Samsung Neon, which is a kind of virtual augmented reality assistant, which could either be really cool or very gimmicky and maybe even a little bit creepy. So as always with these sort of news videos, take a little pinch of salt when it comes to the reports and rumors. We don't know exactly, and we won't until Samsung unveil them officially, possibly earlier than usual in mid-January, and then launching at the end of the month. As for pricing, I suspect they'll be pretty similar to the current S20 series, although we may see the new S21 Plus be a little bit cheaper than the current S20 Plus, as it is much closer in spec to the standard S21. But what do you think? Are you excited for the S21s? And do you have any questions or even any predictions that maybe I've missed? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not sick of me already, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.